to age well and prevent disease, you probably know that you need to be decreasing inflammation in your life.
Yeah, we're in the Rockies.
However, you might be doing this one thing that can lead to chronic low-grade inflammation. Hey, I'm Priscilla. I'm a Houston, Texas nurse, and I'm going to help you take action today for a healthier tomorrow. There have been recent research studies, 2 specifically, that have come out and shown that seed oils could be leading to the rise in colorectal and prostate cancer. Seed oils are a type of oil that are also high in omega-6 fatty acids. And these seed oils for a long time have been shown by people outside of the medical community specifically to lead to inflammation. A lot of people who support using food and nutrition and movement have been saying that we need to avoid seed oils, but a lot of medical professionals and organizations have been saying it's okay, you don't need to avoid seed oils. So we're going to talk about what are seed oils, how you can avoid them, why you should avoid them, and although this is new research, why it is nothing new. And the hallmark causes of chronic disease as we age is chronic low-grade inflammation. Fortunately, there are so many different things that lead to inflammation, such as insulin resistance. You can check out my video on insulin resistance if you like. That can lead to inflammation, but our food choices can definitely lead to inflammation as well. And so we need to make sure that we are avoiding certain ingredients that lead to inflammation. Number 1 ingredient that you should avoid would be seed oils. Those would be canola, cottonseed, soy, corn, sunflower, safflower, grapeseed, rice, bran, anything partially hydrogenated, I also would avoid. They are consumed, they are broken down in our body, and they produce these inflammatory products called cytokines. Cytokines damage healthy cells and decrease the ability of the immune system to help fight disease. If you knew that you were consuming something that did that, wouldn't you want to avoid it? Of course. Now, the research studies found a link between an increase in seed oils and an increase specifically in colorectal cancer. So once you understand the correlation between seed oils specifically and inflammation, we can start to make changes. You can use the list that I just told you. I'll also put a list in the comments and make sure that you avoid them. Where do you find these seed oils? You find them in mostly processed foods. And the reason is that seed oils increase the shelf life of foods. They also are created in very unnatural ways. And so it's not like you just go get an olive and press it to make olive oil. You have to make these chemical compounds through processes that are highly inflammatory. And so what I would recommend that you do is avoid these as much as you can. Once you start reading labels, you'll see more and more sources of them. The aspect to this though is that although this is new research, this is not new data. And what I mean is omega-6 fatty acids have always been high in seed oils. Let's take canola oil, for example. It is mostly made of omega-6 fatty acids. Omega-6 fatty acids inherently are not bad, but when we overconsume omega-6 fatty acids, especially in relation to omega-3 fatty acids, it leads to a state of inflammation. And here's what I mean. An ideal omega-6 to omega-3 ratio should be around 4:1. For every 4 omega-6 fatty acids that you consume, we should be consuming 1 omega-3 fatty acid. The typical American's diet for years ratio has been 20:1. That means for every 1 omega-3 fatty acid the typical American consumes, they're consuming 20 omega-6 fatty acids. And where are they getting that from? They're getting most of it from seed oils. And it is so easy to do in today's society if you're constantly reaching for processed foods. Research is helpful, but it's not that shocking, is because everybody has known, or doctors, research has been done that an imbalanced omega-6 to omega-3 ratio leads to disease. And so if people are constantly consuming these seed oils, it will, of course, create this imbalance in the seesaw where there's too much inflammation. to do is to make sure that you decrease your intake of omega-6, and you could also increase your intake of omega-3s. But in my experience, the easiest thing to do first is to decrease your intake of omega-6 fatty acids via seed oils. Final thing that I would recommend that you do is that you assess where you get your health information from. I have many clients who have been dealing with health issues and their doctors recommended that they use canola oil.
Prozac. Excuse me, Phil, but with these particular symptoms, is Prozac the right choice?
Canola oil is a seed oil and it is high in omega-6. There is no reason for anyone to consume canola oil regularly. You need to switch that. You should be using things such as tallow, olive oil, coconut oil, and other natural fats. It's even better to use butter than these processed oils. The mainstream medical community, for some reason, has a really hard time saying that seed oils aren't healthy. If you look at these two posts, one is from the American Heart Association, the other one is from a World Health Cancer Organization. They refuse to say that seed oils are bad for you. Granted, this was before these two research studies came out this month. However, what has not changed and what is not new information is that seed oils are high in omega-6. And if we know that chronic inflammation leads to disease, why would you tell someone it's okay to consume oils that are high in omega-6? It doesn't make any sense. You need to make sure that you are an advocate for your own health and that you do things that make sense to you rather than just what makes sense to the American Heart Association or the World Cancer Organization. Because although they might have good intentions, they may not always be in line with what is actually good for you. So all that to say, inflammation is the common soil to every disease. I would decrease your intake of omega-6 fatty acids via decreasing your intake of seed oils. And then as you do that, you will improve your inflammatory status if you pair that, especially alongside a lifestyle that decreases inflammation. I have protocols and plans all about decreasing inflammation in your life. And if you would like me to do another video on that, I am happy to do that as well. But the main thing today is to make sure that you stop eating seed oils and make sure that you read your labels and eat food that helps you to prevent disease rather than increases your risk for disease. Thank you so much and hope you have a good day. Take care.